What's up, people? Welcome to the Naked Ego podcast. My name is Cassandra Bill. I'll be your host. This episode has been brought to you by our partners, Istiqbal Kenya. They are the providers of this awesome furniture that we're sitting on. So let's get into the show. GG.
Yes, sir.
How did you acquire that name, GG?
It's basically the abbreviations of all my names. I'm Geoffrey Gitau, so just naturally everybody just said GG.
Yeah.
So,
welcome to Naked Ego podcast.
well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for taking time to show up. The main reason why I thought of inviting you and bringing you here is the last time when you spoke, I think when I started the podcast, you're always in my mind, one of the guests that I wanted to invite, because all along, since I joined biking here in Kenya, you've always been there. I think the first time I saw you was, it's called what? Tattoo City, when you won.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tattoo City. So that was the first time I saw you. And then I had volunteered as a marshal. And then I saw how you're pushing that bike. You are the guys who made me fall in love with a 600cc bike. I was like, man.
Oh my God.
This is a go-to space. And you won. And then I was like, I felt inspired. I was like, maybe I should also do this. I was like, maybe I should do what you did. And slowly by slowly, I got a bike, joined you guys, and then I started riding with you. I think the first time we actually had like a meet close was the Karirana rides that we used to do on Sunday.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, every Sunday we used to go to Karirana and just enjoy life.
Hey, those are good moments.
Those are one of the best moments we've ever had. If you had opportunity to go to Karirana right now, would you push that much?
I'm not sure I have that kind of courage.
Yeah, because I think back then things were different.
Yeah, we didn't have too many responsibilities.
Yeah,
too many thoughts in our minds.
Yes, we were not as informed as we are right now.
Yeah.
We also, I think at that time, the biking culture was, I think it was at its peak at that time.
You would say so.
At that time,
it had budded and it had now garnered enough.
It was molded. It was at a point where like it was the fine wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us who you are for people who really don't know who GG is. Tell us who you are, bro.
In this world,
yeah,
in this country I live in, I'm just an ordinary guy. I work in the property development space. Right now I'm working on a project somewhere in Ruiru. Beyond that, I'm just an ordinary guy. I don't know anything I can say much more than that.
What are the things that make you? Like, what are the things that make GG? For me, I would say, for example, things that make me. I'm very energetic. I'm loud. I'm very courageous. I'm a go-getter. I'm a daredevil. I'm a happy guy. I value connection. I enjoy. So what are the things that make you?
Things that make me.
Yes.
I could probably define that best in how I spend my time.
Yes.
How I divide my time week after week, month after month. I like to start my day with a workout. That's basically how I start every weekday of mine. Do about 2 hours, then get my food, then go to work. I love to spend time with my family. Now I have a family, which is...
You're father of two?
I'm a father of two, man.
Oh, man.
Imagine that. Like how life changes.
Yeah.
And
I saw your son and your daughter's images. I was like, wow.
Imagine that.
You must be one hell of a happy dad.
I ran home just to look at them. And this is something I've had from my friends before. And before I used to think my friends were just nuts. Yeah. Why'd you run home to see your kids? You see them when you see them. but now I can explain that's a magnetic pull that you really can't describe to anybody else who's not walked the journey. It has taught me things about life that I would never have learned had I not gone through that experience. So I've just, I think, touched a few things about that describe my time. How I spent it with my family, how I spent it with my gym is really my me time. In the morning, I go there to put my mind in order, my spirit in order. I imagine this about gym. If I'm able to be hit and every time be able to stand up, then somewhere, somehow, when I walk through life, I can be able to transfer that kind of perspective. Like if life gets me down, I think I can be able to look, even from my fallen state, I can be able to rise back up again. Something that you just explained in yourself. So I think those are the two big pillars that define my life. I eat very, very specifically. The rest of my time I spend at work. The project that I'm working on. That's where I spend all of my time.
Do you love your work?
Very much, very much. It's a work of passion. For a long time, I think I'm not even getting paid from it. But I just love being there, being able to drive, being a member of the driving force of the vision. It's a different thing for the spirit.
Yeah, so
very
good things take time.
Indeed. Yeah, I doubt anybody ever became a superstar the moment they tried.
Yeah, and for those who did, probably they didn't last long.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. They didn't last long.
Cool. So when we were chatting on WhatsApp, and I was asking you, I want you to come to the podcast. Tell me one thing that probably you've struggled with in the past and you feel like it's so vital for a modern man to embrace and always have it as their tool to maneuver life. You said, what did you say?
I said many things. You have to remember.
No, you said men now need to know God.
Indeed, my friend, indeed. There's no other way. Not only men, even women. But you realize that, I'm not talking this dogmatically, but the men drive the society.
Yeah.
So to speak. Many of the decisions that happen in our country, even look in parliament, you never find that the majority vote is driven by the female participants.
True.
Usually it's just the male participants, and that's a picture. That's a small picture of our country, but really describes the whole world. So if you're able to change your the menfolk in your society, you'll be able to really change a lot about the society. Look at it this way: the book of the Bible has about 66 books.
Yeah.
Not even one is written by a woman. Not even one.
Why?
That was God's ordinance, because the way God defines hierarchy in terms of His world, Jesus is above the church. Then from the church, we have a smaller subset. And the subset is you have a man and a woman and children who create a family.
Yeah.
And the head of the home is a man. He is the priest of the home. He's the one who's responsible for the spiritual nourishment of that home. Yeah. And that is more important in this world than knowledge about how to survive in this world. Nobody's ever, when life comes to its end, nobody will ever get a gift for skillfully living this life. But God will reward you with reference to how you nurtured your spiritual responsibilities upon yourself and upon the people that God gave to you. So God gave you a wife, God gave you children. And then with the things that He gave you, those gifts He gave you responsibilities upon how to, take care of them. Which is what He'll ask you, how did you deal with the things I gave you? So you see, the man has authority and responsibility, and not to use it to lord it over the people that are under him, but to serve them. You have been given strength more than the woman who is a weaker vessel than you. But don't think that in her weakness she's weak. No. My friend, the person who fights for her is much more powerful than you are. Yeah. You have been given strength. So with your strength, you're supposed to walk like a lock and key. Yeah. With the people that you've been given. You're there to be of service. So if I was to speak to a human being, especially the man in our society, in Kenya, men are not courteous, not speak badly. Men are not humble. When they're asked about something that they don't know, they want to be seen that they know, yet they don't know. And usually that comes from from a body of knowledge that is just based on deception. Let me tell you, there's nowhere in life you'll go if you think, if you're deceived, if you're conceited, if you believe in yourself beyond what you can actually be able to deliver.
Yeah.
A human being who's able to say, I'm sorry, but I do not know this,
Yeah.
has more wisdom than somebody who says, yeah, I'm the guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, I'll just add this. The reason why I say men need to be humble, need to be courteous and all these things is because through the door of humility is all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Nobody will ever understand anything if they say they know yet they don't know. You've already closed the door. Nobody can help you there because, you know.
It's so important to come from that space of emptiness. It's like an empty cup.
How great would you describe that importance if I was to ask you a question? Compare that importance with the importance of approaching an exam. How much bigger would you think it would be?
I think it's so big, especially in my life. You know my story, my experiences, and all that. I've been in spaces where I've operated from a space of ego, like I'm the hero, I'm the guy, I can do A, B, and C. And then it has led me to so many troubles. I've made so many mistakes along the way. And one value that I picked along the way, it was like learning to come from a space of an empty cup. When it's an empty cup, people can pour something inside there. Yeah, the way you experience, the way you interact with people on a day-to-day basis. When you're doing businesses with people, you get to learn. Some are intentionally passed on to you as an advice. Some are subconsciously. You pick them, the way you interact with people. And it's been so vital. With that, you get to experience growth. Yeah, you see, okay, this is who I was in 2015. This is who I am in 2022. It's beautiful. Even with the experiences, even with the ups and downs. I think for a man, one of the way we measure ourselves is always financial. Like, how many plots do I have? How many cars am I driving?
Basically, how much are you worth?
How much you're worth. And for me, I've gone through space of having it and then lacking it and then probably having it and then losing it completely. And then through that journey, the most important thing was just being humble and telling myself, maybe there's something that you need to learn along the way. It's not accidental that... One thing I learned, it's not accidental that you fail.
Life itself is not accidental.
It's not accidental. So you set yourself up for those things. Yeah, so for me, coming from a space of an empty cup, just going through life willing to learn, and while you interact with people, even you yourself just taking time, you can read a book, you can read the Bible, and all that. It's so important.
Very. Knowledge can only be imparted through reading.
Yes.
You could listen to stuff a long time, and think, I could be learning a lot, but reading basically is the only way you can impart knowledge. Yeah.
So last time we met, we interacted, I wouldn't say you were this close to God.
No, very far. Extremely far. I was the farthest human being.
Yeah, what happened?
Wow. How I don't think
I think just to paint the picture, for people out there to understand exactly who GG was at that time. Right. You are at the peak of nearly everything. You come from a well-off family, right?
You would say so.
Yes, so you come from a well-off family. You had a BMW, 1000 RR. It's most people's dream bike.
Yeah, the goods of the world.
Yes, the goods of the world. And then you had won couple of races. Like, you are that guy. Like, in biking community, people wanted to be you.
People wanted to be me.
Be around me. People wanted to beat you. People wanted, you are envy to some level. You are a threat in that space.
Yes.
So what changed between now and then?
Regeneration. I could just put in one word. Regeneration basically means the desires of my heart, my thoughts, my inclinations, my bent for life, those things changed, like categorically, almost like they fell off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I used to do back in the day, my desires, the things that I'd do so I can be able to entertain myself, the comforts of life that I afforded myself, those things have changed, especially they changed with the knowledge that now is being imparted to me, especially through the study of the word. You realize the world can trap you in its deceptiveness with the trappings of the world through the worries of life, through the possessions you can be able to garner for yourself in life, thinking that those are things that are important. They're not important at all. See, you've mentioned I came from a well-off family. My grandfather was actually the one who was well-off.
Yeah.
And he struggled his whole life, and he died like a person who did not have all these things. The people who are now benefiting from them are now us, his children, his generation that has come after him, that are able to now put to use these things and be able to trade them with the world and be able to support ourselves very well. For me, he's very pivotal when I watch the life that he went through, and he eventually entered his grave. And I thought, I'm also going to enter my grave. You're also going to enter your grave. All of us are also all going to enter our graves.
Definitely.
And the Bible tells you those are things you need to think about, my friend. The things you're not supposed to think about cars. All these things will disappear. They'll all, in a matter of sense, they'll all pulverize. They'll all become powder. Yeah. And then all of us will have our face, our time before the Almighty, the God who created you and told you, what did you do with my son? It's so amazing when you realize that this message sounds like foolishness. When you tell people about Christ and how he needs to be the person who is actually leading your life. You are actually a servant in his kingdom. And if you do not realize it, you realize it at the end when you're getting retribution and not getting commended. And I understand, and even now and even then, this message was foolishness, so to speak,
To you.
To me, it was foolishness, as in like, though a human being died a couple thousand years ago, what does that have to do with me, my friend? I want to go ride banana. After this, I want to go meet my friends and have some, whatever kind of fun I was having at that time. And then...
Question.
Yeah.
For those people who are in that space, where in this moment, in the now, the word of God means nothing to them.
Indeed.
Would you rush them to get to the space where they know God? Would you judge them? What would you say about those people?
No. You'd love them. Let me tell you, you can only love them because, think about it this way. If you are sick, suffering from a certain disease that is quite difficult to deal with, and then you found somebody who can be able to heal you. If you went back out there, you'll not be laughing at that person who is also sick just like you are. You'll be like, bro, I think I know a place I can take you. And then you'll be able to get the kind of healing that I'm now being blessed by. That's the kind of attitude you're giving to a human being. You won't judge that person because they are possibly ignorant, and possibly you are the instrument who has been defined by the Almighty so that you can be able to impart this message. Understand that God didn't talk to us through Instagram or Facebook. That's not how God talks to you. He talks to you through another human being whose heart has been changed and can be able to impart that kind of education that only a human being can pass on to another human being, and not pass on to you through artificial means. It's only one human to another human being who you can tell, I know who you were before. I understand now who you are now. I want to know what happened. You get? And tell that person, the information that changed me is not from me. It came from this words that I'm reading, which I now realize are actually true. I'll give you something, for example. The Lord Almighty exists, but people don't think he exists. So the Bible has what we call prophecies, and some prophecies have fulfilled, others haven't fulfilled. In the Bible, we read that God came down on Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is somewhere right now in the country of Israel in Palestine. So where that mountain exists, there are many other mountains. But it's the only mountain that has a blackened top, blackened as though fire burnt all those rocks. So you could actually go there right now. If you take a flight, go to Israel, land, take some public means to there, climb up the mountain, you realize out of 300 probably something square kilometers, there is no other mountain that looks like this. It is the only single mountain that looks like it has been blackened on the top by extreme fire. So if you do like you hack the rock, and underneath the rock that is not burnt, you could see it very easily, and the top is burnt. So you asked me how did it happen, the change. I started realizing these things that I'm reading, they're not just boo-boo talk, or it's not just a fantasy book like a Jerry Rawlings book you're reading, you know. This is actually truth. All right. See a space like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's talked about in the Bible, and it actually exists. So where Sodom and Gomorrah exists is now dry and desolate. It's completely run down. Nothing can grow there, not even weeds.
Yeah.
So in that location, you find little sulfur balls that have encased in some rock. And then when you remove those sulfur balls and burn them, they come up at about 98% sulfur, very high sulfur. And everything around there, in only that section, it's the only place you can find sulfur. And you know in the Bible, Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire and brimstone is burning sulfur. So you see these things, they were written in the Bible in no other text. Okay, I'll throw in something else so you can be able to put your mind around it. The Bible is a text that was written in the 1st century. The last book of Revelation was probably written between 90 AD and 100 AD. That's a very long time ago, if you think about it. Now move from 100 AD, 200 AD, 300 AD, 400, 500, 600, go into the first, in the 10th century, 11th century, 15th century until 19th century. And yet the writings you are reading now are the same writings that are being read 2,000 years ago. If I would ask you whether there are any other manuscripts in circulation right now that were written in that time, you won't find any. Whose power is it that has sustained this writing in its complete format since that time until now? That's not a human being. No humans sat somewhere and said, we gotta get this book to the year 2000 plus. Nobody ever sat down and said that.
Wow.
That book has actually been held together in the format that it has been from that time until now. You realize life is not what you think it is. Life is not the things that we clamor about. We wake up and we want to become rich. We want to become famous. You want to be noticed by that lady at the corner. Those are not the desires that God has for you. He has put you in this world for a very specific purpose, and He speaks them to you by, first of all, you understanding what He has revealed about Himself. This is who I am. By knowing who He is, you will definitely know who you are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is a very heavy moment for me.
It's heavy, my friend.
Yeah, so I think we'll take a short break.
No
and
problem.
Then we'll be right back.
I understand.
This is Naked Ego Podcast. This episode has been brought to you by our partners, Istiqbal Kenya. They are the providers of this awesome furniture that we are sitting on. So let's get into the show. Welcome back to Naked Ego Podcast. And we have GG. GG, so we were talking about how probably what are the things that made you switch lanes. I don't know if it's the right term to use, but who are you before the man you are now?
I was ignorant. I was arrogant. I was stupid. I was a child of disobedience, and a child of disobedience, by that I mean I followed a life where I wanted to please myself, and I worship. Okay, I wouldn't say worship myself, but for lack of a better word right now, I worship myself. And by worshiping yourself means what? You want to give yourself the best without any consideration for the consequences or what it is that it costs the world that you live in. That was who I was. Now, I would say one change that has changed is I'm more attentive in the moment. Like when I sit with people, I want to know the person and not just speak. The people who speak so they can be heard speaking, or they can be seen that they're the center of attention of the circumstance of the situation.
Yeah.
But that has changed. when I come around people, I want to know, do you know the Lord, my friend? You might be Obama, you might be all this, and it might be cool, everything that you've achieved in this world, but beyond that, do you know God? Because that's the only thing that matters. There's no other message that is as important as that. If you imagine, take for example, if you were to contrast and compare the length of time of the years any human being has lived vis-a-vis the length of time of eternity, there's no comparison. There's no comparison yet. There's one mind that will take care of you now into eternity, and there's another mind within the same person that can damn. And by damning means it will just take you to, I don't like using the words like hell, but people need to know these things exist. There's a damnation that comes in life after death, and there's a recompense that comes to a human being after death, depending on how you lived your life. God is going to ask you a question. I sent my son to the world. What did you do with him? I sent my son Jesus. And when I sent my son Jesus, the purpose of me sending my son Jesus was so I can demonstrate my love for you, so that by you accepting and believing in him, what was supposed to come to you as condemnation and punishment, it has been taken away. That's not a message that you can be able to easily accept, especially in the world, because by believing you're being told to abandon yourself, and by abandoning yourself means all those moments where you have exalted yourself above the idea of God, you have to do away with them, and that's not easy for any human being. So, like the way you would probably break a stone, the first hit of the hammer on the stone won't break it. Probably even not the second or the third, and probably would be the fourth or the fifth one going forward. You get. So that's how the information came at me, slowly but surely from the beginning. I had it the first time, the second time, then the third time, and then it becomes louder.
Yeah.
And it becomes louder, and you realize it's only you who can perceive this. Nobody else can perceive it. Nobody else can see that there's a message that the world is speaking to you. I can give you one example of when I can perceive changes that are happening. I was at a house party with some of my friends, indulging in a lot of debauchery and recklessness. And then when we were there, a video started showing on the television, on YouTube, about a person singing. Just basically, it's a big superstar in America. And then as they were singing, the video commentator started saying things like, this person seems to be morphing. The face seems to be morphing and shifting, and they're looking like they're not human anymore. Then they morph back, become human again. Then the costumes that they were wearing were just so weird. Like, you don't see human beings wearing costumes like that. Some of the accessories were real blood. Then so you realize this is not correct. Then in my spirit, looking at that, I'm thinking that if this person who is singing at the stage has seen that whatever it is that they're presenting is the best thing they could present to humanity, but you in your eyes you're seeing this is, for lack of a better word, this is demonic. Who I don't know anybody who dresses up and splashes blood on themselves and presents themselves to an audience and expects that the audience will cheer. I think if any of us did that right now, people would be very shocked. They start calling ambulances. You get
people are weird. Like I think, I don't know. We are kind of forcing the people in these spaces of power, the artists, the musicians, to give us something new. Like I think new and crazy and weird is what tends to be accepted in the moment. Like, I don't know what's wrong with the humans. Like, yeah, I wanted to ask you, during your shift, what really happened with those connections that you had before? You and your friends, you and your siblings. Is your family very close to God?
I would not say all of them. My mother is.
Your mom is.
My mother is.
So what changed with the relationships? I want you to talk about your family setup relationship and also with your friends?
This is awesome. I think I came to understand what it means by blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
We've gone through things, me and my family together, in our little close-knit space. My father's not all there upstairs, but we still take care of him. So we live around him, and my mother basically brought us up, all of us together. Me, my brother, and my sister.
Your dad passed on?
No, he's still around.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying he's not mentally astute. He's lost his mind a bit. So we take him in and out of rehabs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So that's how he is.
And how is it for you?
It's our journey. We accept it, and we know that this is what we have to do. Yeah. So we have no qualms with it. We know we just have to work with it. Yeah. He's been like that for a while, and now going more than 10 years plus. So we have been with him that way.
It's become a norm now.
Yeah. So in our family, it hasn't changed. I think my sister and my brother noticed that I'm not the same kind of guy I used to be before.
Yeah.
I'm like, brother, you're not doing. There's some things that we expected that you'd be doing. You look like someone has turned down the volume on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only notice that people have made in my family, but they're not averse. They know they themselves know about the message of Christ.
Yeah.
We were as we were growing up, my mother really exposed us to church and stuff like that. But with respect to my friends, I've lost all my friends.
What?
Yeah, pretty much.
No way.
I would kid you not if I tell you the only friend I have right now is my wife.
Yeah.
And then my family. The only people I have communications with. Like my WhatsApp can go the whole day without a message.
You have a very good wife.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. A gift from God. I tell you, when you ask me how are you, grateful. Because if I start telling you the things I'm grateful for, the things that have been orchestrated in my life, for them to be arranged the way that they're arranged now, let me tell you, my friend, it's not simple, and it's not my work.
And what is I think, let me know if I'm crossing the boundary.
No.
You were married before.
Yes.
And you had a very big proposal.
Imagine. Everybody knows about it.
And then you got married in church.
Yeah.
And then that relationship didn't last long.
It ended. Pretty much 2 years after it started.
What happened?
Sin. Like you asked me, what space were you in before? Remember?
Yeah.
I told you I was ignorant. I was stupid. I was arrogant. There's some things that if I had known the way I know them now, things probably would have been different. I would have known when to be humble, my friend, when to even apologize. As a man, not thinking that you're above these kind of actions in your life, and thinking that they have no consequences in your life. You see, the physical life is very easily perceptible, but the life of the spirit is not perceptible, so that you cannot see what is the cause and effect in a life of spirit. You could refuse to be humble, and not knowing that because of that circumstance, you will never possibly, proceed in life, even probably in your business, or even your relationships with other people. You cannot probably even break through to your kids because you're not humble even to your wife. Why would your kids listen to you? So the space of cause and effect in the life of the spirit is something you can't perceive. So you can't even perceive when you're making a mistake leading into an accident. So some of those things that I was led to the demise of my first marriage. Until it got to a point where it was just irretrievably, you couldn't just retrieve it from the kind of damage that I think both of us in the marriage had caused. But I can speak on my part because I know I'd done things that possibly even somebody would not forgive. And I see that now. Looking back, I understand it is because I was the kind of person I was then that happened. Even if now I was the same kind of person, the marriage I am in right now would still follow the same path.
Oh, yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
And how did, your proposal, your marriage was very big.
Yes.
Like most of us, actually, you made people start pressuring me to get married. Bill, you're next.
Let me tell you, in my own family, people were mad at me. Like, how do you do that? And the situation, my friend. Like now, everybody who's got hierarchy or has got authority in our family, we start asking you, why can't you be like,
Yes.
So now I became that person. It's like, no, because of you.
Yeah.
Now the conversations in my house are different because I'm your friend and because I'm your cousin. So I brought pressure to a lot of people and not knowing it. And that was not my intention.
What influenced you to do that, though?
I think the kind of person I am or I was, I think I still have some elements of that. I wanted to make a statement to the world.
For you or for her?
For her, and no, to show her, yeah, this is how
This
much,
is GG.
this is me for you.
I get what you mean. What you mean. Yeah.
So that time it was pomp and flair, like almost as though for me that was what was important.
Yeah.
Which really wasn't what is important.
Exactly, it wasn't. I think I've been in that space also. My relationship at that time also tumbled.
Yeah.
And I've been able to experience that. There's a point.
You need those. You definitely need those.
True. You need those.
Yeah.
There's a point where you get, for you as a man, you start looking at the superficial, the materialistic, the earthly things of making a statement. And in that moment, you actually don't even take a second or 2 minutes to listen to that person and understand what is their main concern.
You even have no capacity to do that.
Exactly,
deal,
yeah.
You have no capacity. Your mind, you're almost like, it's like asking for a leopard to change his spots.
Yeah.
It's not possible. You have no capacity. Pretty much you have no capacity. Asking a corpse to make you a cup of coffee. There's no way a dead man can wake up and make a cup of coffee.
It can't happen.
It's not possible.
Now,
Yeah.
most of the Christian families, they have this thing ingrained in their brain. Like, once you're married, you can't separate, you can't divorce.
Yeah.
Did you divorce?
Yes, I did.
Why?
You see, now you're asking me a question, and yet I'm not the same person I was.
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean.
You remember?
Wow, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not you anymore.
I'm not the same human being. I look the same, I know.
Yeah.
Even I meet some people and I'm like, I know I'm the same person, my friend, but what
you're
drives
in a
me
different
now,
space right now.
Completely. I'm being driven completely by a different way of thought.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, like, what I'm trying to impart to you right now is like, God is alive, my friend. These are not things I believed in. I didn't believe this.
Yeah.
Now I believe it to the point where anybody I meet, I don't care whether I look stupid telling you this information, knowing that you used to know me differently, you know.
Yeah.
You used to know me as this macho guy.
Yes.
You used to know me as this guy who does this kind of stuff.
Yes.
I'm not that kind of guy anymore. What is important for me right now is that if I was ever asked, when you met this human being in your life, did you ever tell him about me? God, yes, I tried. I tried to tell him about you. That was my intention at that point. Yet this was not the human being I was at the time I was making the mistakes I was making. Yeah. It has changed completely that way. Completely. There are things I used to watch. I don't watch anymore. And I don't watch them because I don't want to watch them, because I realize the effect they have on my life.
Yeah.
You see, from the abundance of your heart, you know, what fills your heart, so the things will come out of you. And by those things that come out of you, they define what is important in your life. You know, what you think about, you know, what drives you. All that can be known just by a simple speech you make.
True.
You know, just by how you act around people who are lesser than you, higher than you, how you interact with with your society will really define what it is that you have inside your heart. Where your treasure is, where your heart is also. Now, because I understand this, I realize there are things that are more important in my life than what I thought was important in my life before. Yeah. It's not the same human being, though he looks the same. Yeah, the old has gone, the new has come. These are things I started to understand when I started reading the Bible. I realized the things that drove me are not the things that drive me anymore. You know, when I was younger, or rather back in those days, I used to believe, you know, I'll be that guy who will do this. I'll be that guy who will do this. Then they will know me. You know, already you see where I've exalted myself to which point. Yet God is telling you, my friend, I will make you unknown.
Yeah.
The message that you will pass, it is only the message that they'll hear. They won't know who you are. And yet you are here in the background saying, they will know who I am. You see, those are two colliding ways of thought.
Yeah, well, I think women, we always want to make a statement.
Yeah.
Even with the cars that we buy,
yes,
the type of dressing that we do.
The pride of life, you want it to expose.
Yes.
And you want people to know. And you want to know people to know that I have more than you. You know, that pride, that deceit, it only comes from the devil, my friend. It only comes from the side of evil. People who God transforms, He transforms you into His knowledge of love. Understand that every human being is really your brother. I was given this space in this time, so I can meet someone like Bill. I can meet these other friends of ours, so that we can exchange. Because of our interaction, we can know God. If a guy came here probably from Sudan or probably from South Africa and started speaking to you, and you were not able to interact with him as immersively as we have interacted in the past up until this moment right now, his speech might not be able to, as our friend here has spoken, make you think, make you start wondering, is there a message deeper than what I'm being spoken to right now? You get? So the same way that message hit me, I realized that, as Jesus said, the people who will come after me, they'll obey my commands, my friend. And that's how they will know they are mine. When I start speaking, only them can respond, not anybody else. So these things hit you at a point in your heart that removes the heart of stone you had before, and gives you a heart of flesh and makes you start thinking the things of God.
Are you closer to your mom right now?
By far.
Compared to...
completely. As in, I love our relationship. I can just wake up and, talk to my mom. And these are not things I used to do before. Not even my mom. I see my grandmother. Our conversations with me and my grandmother. And these are people who are very special in my life.
Your grandmother from your dad's side?
From my mom's side. My dad's side, they both passed away. My mom's side, my grandmother is still alive. And very strong grandpa? And kicking. No, he passed away in 2011.
So you only have one grandma?
Yes.
Both grandpas have passed on?
Yes.
For me, I have none. So how is the relationship like with your grandma?
It's so rich. How would you explain a relationship between you and your best friend? I'm not saying it's the same, but with respect to who she is as my grandmother and who I am as her grandson, I don't think it could be richer. It could, of course, could be richer, definitely. But on the basis of what we know together, you know God in the way that you have walked with Him. I am just now getting to know God, and I hope I remain on this path, so that our conversations not be about, oh, what did you eat, or do you want some food? The kind of things that grandmothers ask you. It's not that anymore. You're talking about how have you dealt with the challenges? Are you able to pray better now? As in, that is so. It's so awesome. It's so awesome when you start to realize the things that we speak about now are not about the things that we're experiencing in this world anymore. It goes beyond this world. She understands she's going to die, and speaking about it, she's not afraid. And that's so refreshing to hear somebody say, I'm going, and when I go, I hope where I'm going is probably where we'll meet. In the time after this. That conversion is real, my friend. It's not in this world. So on that basis, it's richer. It's different, and then it drives me to be able to have some kind of confidence to tell other people. And this information is important. How my grandmother met her transformation, met God. It's not the same way I met. So when you speak about it, it's so interesting to understand how she came to know, how I came to know, and how we are accepting to be used to pass on this message. Because really, that's all our work. To pass on this message. What we are doing right now here is just to be able to get to the point where we hear that message. Then from that you die. Then you go and to do the work you're supposed to do. Also, even when you're here, there's a work you're supposed to do. True. If you are alive, the moment you get this information, every person you meet, your work is to spread that message. Don't worry whether it will grow or it will not grow. That's not your work. Your work is to spread the message. Kutoka hapo, achia Mungu. Yeye sasa ndiye ataingia, he starts to tend the garden, so to speak, basically.
What is the one thing that you've learned from your grandma?
I've learned many things. What can I say?
One thing that pops up in your mind.
Perseverance, patience. Like you said, no good thing comes easily. My grandmother worked with my grandfather a long time, and for a long time she was a breadwinner in her family.
Wow!
Imagine. Then eventually my grandfather, was able to constitute himself. My grandfather had one wife who is my grandmother, and I have seen gentlemen who have stayed or walked a life with one wife to the end. They have a sort of different state of being. They have a contentment that you can't find in other men. They have a joy of life that is unsuperseded. My grandfather might not have been able to enjoy his wealth, but he was happy with my grandmother, and you could see it, and you wonder, why were these other men looking for more than one wife and all those things? And like on my dad's side, I think my grandfather had 3 wives and all those kind of things. And when you contrast the two pictures, you see a lot. You're able to walk a deeper spiritual journey. Let me tell you, a wife is given to you by God. I came to see that now, and it's not something I can explain to a human being, especially who's never walked that journey.
Yeah.
But as a man, if you have that desire, then follow the route that you've been given by God. Don't try and find a woman on your basis. You'll really.
Did you have the opportunity to meet your grandpas? Any?
Yes, all of them.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Uh-huh.
I met both my grandfathers. On my mom's side, of course, my grandmother there. On my dad's side, I met all my grandmothers, so to speak. I interacted with them. I think all my wife, my grandfather's wives on my dad's side, 2 of them are alive. Yeah, so we still speak. So just my dad's mom passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad's mom was the first wife of my grandfather on my dad's side. So she passed away and my grandfather passed away. So but I had a relationship with both of them. I think up until I was 10, probably going towards 12 years old. And then she passed away.
What is the one thing that you kind of have forced yourself to unlearn from seeing how your grandparents lived, especially your grandpas lived, and how they carried themselves, how your dad has, your uncles? What is the 1 or 2 things that you forced yourself to unlearn to adapt to being a young man growing up in 2022?
I would answer that question in this format. I learned to appropriate what they did not have. My grandfather on my dad's side had no sense of humility. He was the authority figure, as he was a very rich man in his time. So he was the kind of person, he enters a room, people start talking whispers. That kind of figure. People are hushed around him, and that's a really dead way of living.
You don't want to be that person.
No, I want to be the person. Even if I enter the room, you're more happy to see me than you're scared to see me.
Yeah, people talk to you.
Yeah,
people interact.
Yeah, we talk. I really am harmless. I've come to see myself. I'm harmless. I have no qualms with anybody. I don't fight. Even if you have anything of mine and probably you're supposed to give it back, didn't give back, I'm not gonna come forcefully.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about it maybe once, twice. If it's not panning out, I just leave it.
Yeah.
These things of the world are not mine anyway.
Yeah.
We're just keepers of the things that we have. But looking at my grandfather, especially on my dad's side, and even somewhat on my mom's side, the path of humility is so much different. The path of humility opens you to opportunities to learn and opportunities to experience life that people don't experience when you close that door. It's only through a door of humility you get wisdom. It's only through a door of humility you get understanding. It's only through a door of humility you can tell somebody else, I don't understand. Please help me. It's only through a door of humility that says, I am weak now and I'm in need of help. Are you able to help me? It's only through that door that these kind of opportunities can come to you, or you can open yourself to them. And so that you can be able to live a true life. I have seen something in my life that things of deep insight, words of wisdom don't always come from the people you look up to. You could be given words of wisdom by a very young child. And if you have no perspective or humility to be able to listen, you will quickly dismiss that child, or anybody you perceive is lower than you. You get? But if you're open, you will realize you can even be spoken to by a person who, in your standing, is way lower in class than you are. Yeah. And then, funny enough, that's how God speaks. He will not speak to you through the high and mighty. He doesn't do that. God was pleased in the foolishness of the message to place it in the containers that you will not respect. Imagine, that's even how Jesus came. When he came, they expected the guy would come and overthrow the Romans, come with a mighty sword. Then they come, this guy is from Bethlehem. Bethlehem was a place like Kibera, my friend.
Despised.
They're like, they're asking, we met the Messiah, the one. He's from Nazareth. Then the guy was being called Nazareth. What good thing can come from Nazareth? Surely that I should go and listen to. But that's how God came. He was pleased that in the foolishness of the message that was preached, to save only the people who believe, so that you who think you're high and mighty and thinks they can't believe this, you will be excluded from the kingdom.
Do you think that is the reason why people despise the message?
Yes, it is the stigma that God has placed it himself, that he wanted to use a message that for the Jews, or rather the Israelites, they were looking for a physical conqueror, because they said the guy who's going to come is going to conquer, the world, and his kingdom will be one that will never end, of its increase. It will know no end. So when they were waiting for this guy, they were like, this guy who's going to come, he must be very mighty if his kingdom is never going to end. But then in the same scripture, it says that he's going to have to first suffer. So that in his suffering, he pays the punishment for you. So that when you believe in him, you won't be punished. Then when he comes the second time, my friend, he's going to come with this power. So you, as a person who is used to, finding transcendental, esoteric, high knowledge, and then you're here being told, there's like a guy who came from Nazareth. They're like, boss, just stop.
Yeah.
So it is God's plan that he has created that kind of a stumbling block. To the Gentiles, it is foolishness. Gentiles here means all the nations that are not Israelites. To the people who are not Israelites, this information just sounds ludicrous. But to the Jews, they're like, no, our Messiah cannot come like this. He can't be a person we just kill like this. That God is supposed to be a guy who's powerful. Yes. So this is not our Messiah. So you see, God made sure that the people who come to him, you first have to be humble to accept that message. Can you see that message is not a message you can you accept because me, I went to have a PhD, so I can understand this message.
Have the masters.
Nothing. It all requires your faith, my friend, accepting that this is actually the truth. It is not what you think. This that you're being told is the truth, and once you accept that it is the truth, then you will find your salvation. Otherwise, if you refuse, the same way God will refuse you.
Wow.
Imagine that.
This is so powerful. I'm learning a lot, man. I think we'll take a short break and then we'll get back. This is the Naked Ego podcast. Welcome back to the Naked Ego podcast. So, Gigi, how are you feeling?
Still okay, my friend.
Good. So I think for this segment, I'll just ask you a question, and I just want you to give us your perspective for these questions. Number one, what is the one mistake you've made before, and what did you learn from it?
I think you're asking me something that stands out from the past.
Yeah.
A mistake I made. Wow. I have a very good love-hate relationship with all my mistakes. I hate that I made them, but I love that I made them.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. Because mistake influence, they tend to influence your future now, from that moment henceforth, right?
I actually even believe my character is built most from mistakes that I made, because I ruminate upon them, and I identify how I could have been different, and what I could have done different. Not only that, now I'm able to speak about it and tell people, this has been my journey, something that you should not need, you need not go through it.
Yeah, you can learn it from me.
You can learn it from me, and go it this other way. A mistake, ignorance, I think. I think I could put it ignorance. See, for example, like this, when I was choosing my university degree, to do, I was completely unaware of what I wanted to do, and I only did what I did because possibly at the time it felt, given the circumstances, it was what was right to do. These are the grades you have. The people who get this kind of grades, they do 1, 2, 3. You get. So looking back, I think life would have been totally different had I done what was right to be done, and not do what is pleasing to the society, or to be seen that this is the kind of thing that you can do.
So what is the choice that you went for? And what would be the ideal choice for you?
Okay, with this respect, I'll pick out my masters. I went
Yes.
to London
Yes.
to do a master's degree.
Yeah.
And I went to do a master's degree in mathematical trading and finance. And why I did this is because I wanted to become a forex exchange trader
Yeah.
or an analyst or
Yes.
something of that nature.
Yes.
And back in the day, which I think is even something still going on now,
Yeah.
people are infatuated by trading the stocks,
Yeah.
and foreign exchange trading and things like those.
Yeah.
So that bug had also caught me. So I was choosing a university degree so that I can become a forex trader, so I can make all this money and people can look at me and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
man, that guy
Yeah.
has made it," So that was a mistake, I believe,
Yeah.
looking back. But yet, in that journey,
Yeah.
it has got me to the point where I am right now.
True.
Yeah.
And knowing what you know now, what would you have gone for?
And knowing what I'd have probably done something in construction, since now I'm doing
Yes,
construction. I
yeah,
probably
you
followed something
real
on that
estate and you
nature.
enjoy it.
Yeah, I
and you
enjoy
love it.
I love it. I worked without pay for a long time, and I didn't even see it like it was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we live in a society where most of us are shying away from the work that involves. I don't want to call it manual labor. That for you when you're the construction, it involves you being there present,
Yeah.
walking around, doing things with your hand.
You probably trying to say blue collar jobs.
Yes, blue collar jobs.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we live in a society where people are shying away a lot from that.
Yeah. We're driven by this deceit that that for you to be accomplished and to be seen as somebody who's worth anything, you have to go for the white collar jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next,
Yeah.
are you living true to yourself?
As best as I can, I believe.
Best
My
as-
conscience doesn't accuse me, and I would say at this point it defends me. Something that I would not have said before. Like before, someone could ask me, "Are you true to yourself?" And I say, "Yeah." But the moment even you're saying "yeah," you can see.
Deep inside.
Yeah, deep inside your conscience is like, "My friend,
my bro.
that's not true."
I get it.
Yeah.
Do you experience negative emotions, and how do you deal with it?
Yes, I experience. This is how it is. I know they are there, and I even expect them. I'm aware that we live in a crooked and perverse generation, so you'll really, at almost every corner, every turn, not even too far from the people who are very close to you, you will get into situations that drive up and spike your emotions negatively. But there's a way you're told how to respond, and it won't come from inside you. But for as long as you know that word is true, it will be energized inside you. But the spirit that God gives you the moment you believe, everybody who believes, immediately they get a spirit from God that is not in this world. And the spirit will be able to work with the word that is inside your heart to tell you, remember that when people are like this, this is how you respond. Something that can't happen to anybody who doesn't believe. Yeah.
Powerful. Next, do you think you're putting enough in your relationships, especially, for example, with your dad?
I think I would be able to do more, but I find my time is taken a lot by other responsibilities that I have to do. It looks like with my dad, I need to do a lot of timeshare. And by timeshare, I can't give him as much time as I need to give him. Like at the moment right now, he's in a rehab. For me to see him, I'd have to travel about an hour to go see him, about an hour and a half. So on that basis alone, you find that the time I spend with him is not as much as I would want. And I wish I could do more. I wish I could even interact with him more, tell him about the past that we had. Right now, it seems for him it's a faded memory. He barely remembers much, but he knows I'm his son. He knows his children. He knows our mother, and that's pretty much all he knows. And everything else is probably like a blur. He almost looks like someone who's a 12-year-old in an adult body.
I remember that experience with my grandma before she passed on. I think for me, my grandpa and my grandma from my mom's side passed on very early. So, and then my grandpa from my dad's side, and then lastly my grandma. I think my grandma was there, I think, for pretty much most of our life. And then I remember during the last times when we used to travel to Shags, you could get there and then you had to be introduced. Yeah. So she knows who Bill is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
somebody has to tell him this is Bill.
Yeah.
And now she can
Reconnect. Okay.
connect. Now she can interact with you as Bill.
Ah.
It was so humbling and so powerful.
At the same time.
Yeah, at the same time. So confusing. It was everything packed in one.
I understand.
Yeah. Next, how do you take care of your physical, emotional, spiritual, social aspects of your life?
Oh, those are many.
Okay, physical. Let's start with physical.
Physical. How do I take care of my physical self?
Yeah.
At the beginning of this podcast, I think I spoke.
You're a gym fanatic.
Yeah, I take a lot of attention, and not for the purpose of anything physical, but there's a spiritual work, especially when you're doing a hard workout.
Yeah.
Doing it every morning, having to wake up and show up. It takes you through kind of like hits that you get in the spirit, like you get in any normal life.
Yeah.
You have to perform of yourself, our responsibilities. And that's not easy to do.
True.
But it's necessary for life. It's not easy every day to work out, just like it's not easy every day to do the things that you need to do. But if you do not do them now, then later the consequences might be very difficult to deal with.
True.
Also the quality of life is very different when you take care of your health.
Yeah.
It's very different. I think you can attest.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're able to take care of not only the things that you eat, how you operate your body, you realize even on a spiritual level, you are aware of the things that you're putting into your mind, and you're aware how to step away from distractions and then push yourself towards the things that are edifying to your spirit and to your mind.
True, you kind of protect that space.
Yeah.
You also, I think for me, how did I start going to? I think growing up as a child, I used to hate people who used to go to the gym. Do you know why? Because our firstborn brother used to be a gym fanatic.
Yeah.
That guy used to work out. Like, he used to work out morning and evening. My firstborn bro.
Yalla.
Yes. So at that time, gyms were not very popular. So he had his own workout thing in his house. And then on the walls, that time he had pictures of Kina Arnold and all. Yes, Rambo. And then Kina Dabrat, the music at that time. So I used to hate gym people because he used to have a special diet that we didn't have access to. So I was like, I'm a child. I need to be the one eating fish every day. He was the one eating fish every day and having beef, even when we are eating skooma. And
he's on fish.
And I think that came from a space of resentment. I was like, these people are mean. And now, fast forward, I think 20, I don't know I can't remember the exact year when I started working out, but my dad gifted me with 1 year gym membership.
That's a good gift.
Yeah, so for me, when I started working out was, I want to be desirable to women.
Isn't that what everybody wants?
Yes. So I was like, I want to be desirable. I want to have the six pack. I want to look.
I think everybody started working out.
Yes.
That was the driving force.
Yes, that was the driving force for me to start. And then when I started working out later on, it shifted.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I wasn't aware of the emotional and the psychological effect and the benefit that you experience after working out.
Yeah.
It acts like even a good place to decompress yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Release.
A very good release.
Yes. And then, so I think after working out for some time, I now fell in love with that, being that place as a release.
Yeah.
Yeah, because especially that time when I lost my leg, I didn't have anyone I could talk to. So gym was the one thing I could go and express myself.
Gym was your girl.
Yeah, gym was my girl. It was like that therapist and all that. So yeah. And how do you take care of your emotional self?
I read the word a lot. For me, it has become pivotal to realize that the information that I need to understand is so vast. I don't even think in my lifetime I'll get to understand all of it. But it is the journey within which I should be found in. I realize I should be found in the position that I'm learning the word so I can be able to perform of its instructions in my life. So I realize it helps me to understand that there are things that people have gone through before and they have been emancipated from their situations by the power of God, basically, pretty much. Yeah.
I think the last question, does the future worry you?
Not at all. Let me even shock you. I look forward to death, and not in a morbid kind of way. I don't people think in a morbid kind of way.
I know what you mean, but people are never ready to listen to that.
Yeah.
Like even for me, I remember there's a time we were having dinner together with my folks.
Yeah.
And then I said something in the context of I'm at peace dying. Guys thought I'm being suicidal.
Everybody's so scared of that subject.
Yeah.
The moment you say something like that, even right now, it's only because you have mentioned that this podcast is called Naked Ego. It's a place where you come and strip down. Yeah. And I'm saying this because people need to hear this kind of information.
Yeah.
We need to be the kind of people who think about the things that are actually inevitable.
Yes.
Yes. Not things that are probable.
Yeah.
It's probable you could have a good wife.
Yes.
It's probable you could have good money.
Yeah.
It's probable that life could be good.
Yeah.
But it's inevitable you'll die.
You die.
Now, which of these two is more important to think about when you look at it in that
It's
context?
inevitable you'll edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inevitable.
It's yes.
You cannot escape it.
Exactly.
So, and then even the Bible itself tells you the people who are alive should keep themselves in the memory of that they're going to die, so that you're able to redeem the time and use it wisely, not for the sake of frolicking and enjoying yourself to your own detriment. Because if you have found that those are the things that are ruling your life, you have one place to go. This will have been the best life you could have ever lived, and you'll die after that. So I think about death in the sense that it makes me think, what is important for you to do now? The people that you're talking to, are you telling them the things that are important, or are you talking about stupid things? So it calibrates how I think, how I perform myself with people, how I perform myself even with myself. As a man, I think it's very important that they have space to meditate. As a man, you need time to think by yourself. Like the things that what are you doing? Is it bringing value not only to the person next to you? First of all, it should be are you bringing value to the neighbor first before you even bring value to yourself? Those are not things you can think about when you're always in the hustle and bustle of every day.
I think the world is so fast
it's
that
too fast.
we rarely take time to slow down and introspect. And actually examine. And sometimes we men think of impact based on from our eye. We barely actually take time and listen to our partners, our kids, also, like what is impact from their side. So I think that's
it's very important.
Very, very important.
There's something I came across a perspective or a way of thinking. Think about two people, one who's on a jackpot of so much money, and another person who's gone through a life-threatening event in their life. Possibly they survived cancer or a very nasty accident.
Like for me, I nearly died on that day.
Look at you, and look at the things that have come out of that experience as compared to somebody who would win a jackpot. Some other guy won a jackpot the other day in this country, a lot of money, about 200 and something million. Some guy from Roysambu. I think everybody knows this story. Anyway, I think he went and bought some very flashy car from DT Dobie and stuff like that. The money just dwindled, and in its dwindling, it left him even worse than he was before he got the jackpot. But look at you. You went through a life-changing situation that almost claimed your life. True. Yet out of that darkness, a lot of different, beautiful light, shined in your life in ways that you can even be able to bless other people. It's funny that the things that we perceive as mortifying are really the things that now create the human being that survives that kind of situation, becomes a person who is better, defying of the society around him. And the person wins a jackpot, and every day he just has women in his house, he's got alcohol and things like that. You can't even be proud of that human being if that person was a relative of yours after they won the jackpot. But you can look at somebody who went through a life-changing situation and say, you know what, that guy, I know him. He overcame this, and in his overcoming, this is the fruit of the kind of activities that came out of him overcoming.
That is so powerful.
Mm.
I wish people would take that. Um,
Mm.
Gigi, I can't thank you enough for coming.
I can't thank you enough even for this opportunity, my friend.
Yeah,
Mm.
and you have to come back again. Your story is it's very big, and I feel like we can package them into episodes. So I'll keep inviting you over and over again.
No worries, my
So
friend.
any last word for anyone watching? Especially this podcast is trying to take care of men. So if any message you have for the men who are listening or watching out there, so look at the camera and just
I'll probably part with this. There's only one truth in this world, and there's only one author of that truth, and he speaks through his word, and there's no other way you can know him. It is so amazing. There's no other way you can know him. You cannot know him through experience, or even watching nature, or watching how people do things. You cannot know him that way, but you can only know him if you read the word, and in his reading the word, the spirit which he only gives energizes an understanding that can only come through that means. That being the case, a human being a man in the society, you can only learn of God, the Almighty, through the path of humility. And if you're able to unlock, just able to unlock that path of humility, accept it as you would accept a very hard workout before you start it. You know the workout is hard.
Yes.
But once you accept that that's hard, set it aside, and then you can be able to walk. Now, in the same fashion, but now much, much, much deeper, you understand that there's only one pathway to understand the Almighty, by which you can also be able to understand yourself. If you understand yourself, you'll understand everything around you. And that pathway is a pathway of humility. If a human being as a man could be able to understand what humility means, not by theory, but by the experience of you acting it out, there's an education of life that comes to the human being that can't come any other way. And I would pray and hope that that is something that everybody can be blessed with, because it's a blessing, it's a gift that you can't be able to give yourself, but you can desire it to the point where you can be able to receive it. So I can hope that human beings, the men folk in this society we live in Kenya, can desire humility, desire it to the point where they can be able to enact it through their own actions, so that now their experience is their own, so that their education is their own experience of enacting that humility.
Wow. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Wow. This episode has been heavy for me. Thank you so much. This is the Naked Ego podcast, a space where men are willing to come, strip down their ego, share their story where they are being vulnerable. So that's it from us today. We love you all.